Buenas tardes o buenas noches. Good morning, good night o good evening. Yo les voy, en esta ocasión, les vengo a leer este artículo de la página de Science Direct en inglés. Lo vamos a leer en inglés y al final vamos a hacer una pequeña intervención sobre lo que podemos analizar y deducir de este texto. El texto empieza y su título es Learning to Understand Final Risk Contagion from a Frequency Domain Graph Learning Framework. Lo que se podría traducir como entender los riesgos financieros contagiosos provenientes de la dominación frecuente de gráficas de framework. Okay. Highlights: Another frequency domain graph learning framework for risk contagion. Knowledge gate spectral calibration aligns heterogeneous stock futures. Dynamic relation inference distils contagion paths by spectral theory. State-aware graph routing adaptable models involving risk propagation achieves state-of-art accuracy and high investment simulation returns. Okay, abstract. Understanding and predicting final risk contagion is paramount for effective risk management and investment decision making. Although the effectiveness of deep learning is our widely recognized, existing methods are confined to time-domain frameworks and struggle to capture contagious pathways beyond the most direct or sinuous ones. This makes it difficult to resolve the risk propagation anomalies that are inherent in a financial market. To overcome this limitation, we propose a finite frequency domain graph neural network and the end-to-end graph learning framework based in the frequency domain, specifically a knowledge guided paradigm alignment model performs spectral calibration bilaterally market frequency prototypes to project stock features in an unified semantic space. Okay. A dynamic relation inference mechanism distorts risk contagion pathways but cute infinite spectral coherence and space difference between domain frequency bands, and a state-aware risk propagation method achieves adaptive model of risk evolution by rewriting the flow of risk information based on each node of unicate state. Extensive experiments on real-world datasets from the China's and USA stock markets demonstrate to our model achieves the best performance in terms of both prediction accuracy and advancement metric highlighting the effectiveness of frequency domain modeling. We will make the code publicly available on the manuscript has been accepted. Okay. Introduction to modeling of intricate dependence within multivariate time series presents a fundamental challenge in data mining and deep learning, with profound applications across diverse domains such as finance markets, biomedicine, and traffic flow analysis. Van et al. In the context of finance markets, for instance, the monument spillover effect illuminates how price fluctuations in one stock can propagate to others early and heretofore, underscoring the criticality of capturing that complex inter-series correlations for prices forecasting and risk management. Although traditional economic models have attempted to address this issue, argue out the Yumi and Ayo, Farley and Su, Samani, they often prove inadequate when confronted with the high dimensional, noisy, and dynamical, evolving nature of financial data. In recent years, graph neural networks have emerged as powerful paradigm for modeling financial time series, but represent entities such as stocks as not in a graph neural networks, leveraging their relation-induced bias to explicitly learn and exploit the underlying relational structures achieving remarkable success and variety of final spatio-temporal forecasting thanks Peter Yariwala and Chatu Padiwet. However, existing spatio-temporal graph models almost always operate within the time domain framework Chang-Lei, Huang-Xin, and Li, Tali Wang and Qin, Xiao et al., Xin Shen, Wang, Li, and Xiao. This relies on the time domain signals for feature extraction and relational inference hides the limitations of these models in handling the complexities of final data. In fact, previous time domain modeling paradigms largely focus on capture the most proximity and nearly synchronous weak contagion pathways. However, they are unable to identify and predict financial risk in the face of complexities of financial markets due to sometimes anomalies in risk contagion. Firstly, as shown in the top left panel of figure 1, risk contagion exhibits significant impact intensity modulation. While the impact of a weak shock across the network is non-linearly modulated by the intrinsic properties of the nodes along its path. For instance, a work originating from frame A may be viewed a prefix of reaching frame B with higher financial leverage. Fear B's specific state causes it to act as a risk on prefer, resulting in price volatility and first set the original signal. Secondly, the contagion of risk has been demonstrated to exhibit late large effect how mentally and others. This phenomenon occurs when the inflows of one stock are and another is subject to a time delay, as demonstrated in the middle left panel of Figure 1. Favorable news from upstream firm RA in a supply chain might require several trading periods to fully propagate and be reflected in the stock price of downstream firm C. While some studies attempt to capture such delays using extensive lattice adjustment, Long and al., this exhaustive approach is completely expensive and struggles to adaptively capture dynamically evolving content lies within the network. More critically, the aforementioned risk contagion anomalies are often further scored by a high-frequency noise generated by factors such as short-term market sentiment and algorithm trading. The bottom left panel of Figure 1 shows a scenario where a genuine economic link exists between firm A and firm D. However, due to low signal to noise ratio is MR, their find correctly in the time domain is completely masked by certain random fluctuations. Charlie and fact. Ultimately, when these factors are combined, the absorbed raw time domain signer becomes a very complex mixture. This creatures this creates a fundamental identification dilemma for models based on the time domain. Lacking deep interpretability, They struggle to effectively distinguish the causal pathways driven by true economic logic and fail to reveal the underlying mechanisms and drivers of interstate relationships. In this regard, frequency domain analysis provides a novel perspective aimed at show firstly, as shown in the top right and middle right panels of Figure 1, the amplitude at specific frequency characteristics the colorings in a signal strange, enabling us to capture the relationship between signal intensities. On the other hand, the phase reveals periodic shifts, allowing for the analysis of the relative temporal position between time series. Thus, by combining amplitude and phase shift, it becomes possible to precisely measure and capture intensity modulation on lag effects at the frequency level. Furthermore, as shown in the below right panel of Figure 1, transforming signals into frequency domain provides a global perspective, enabling us to highlight the domain period on trendy components by attending to low amplitude signals, effectively isolating and diminishing noise chain. However, despite the promised outlook for frequency domain analysis upon spectral decomposition to final time series still present three significant technical changes. Okay. Spectral semi-atomic heterogeneity. Unlike physical signals, identical frequency factors may have different economic connections in various business contexts. This ambiguity is similar to of a homonym, where the meaning of words is determined by the surrounding context. For example, high-frequency volatility in the energy sector, possibly resulting from sharp global commodity price fluctuations, has a fundamentally different economic interpretation to similar patterns in the tech sector, which may reflect algorithm trading or market system, directly comparing that spectral signals without considering their context who result in a semantic misalignment of nude factors. Relation quantification of frequency phase interaction. In spectral theory, friends that share a domination frequency may exhibit strong correlation, with phase difference indicate a light-like relationship. However, there is currently no rigorous theoretical framework that can precisely quantify the joint or contribution of those two frequency domain fighters, the final strength of the relationship. Furthermore, these relationships are dynamic and evolve over time. This theoretical disgrace results is an ambiguous process for constructing edge thereby constructing the presence and interpretability of model interference relationships. Stay aware spectral risk propagation. Risk contagions pathways are now detected across the frequency spectrum. They are here remodeled by the marker scenario and the unique state of individual firms Calvin, Ball, and Bolton now. For example, during market crises, high-frequency panic signals might dominate risk propagation, whereas during stable regimes, low-frequency correlation drive by economic fundamentals prevail. A static state adjourns message pacing mechanism is incapable of capturing this evolving risk, multi-scale risk propagation patterns. To systematically address the three challenges, we propose FreeFreeGNN, frequency domain graph neural network, and the end-to-end spatio-temporal learning framework based on the frequency domain for finite time series forecasting. But this complexity in finite time series in their spectral representation our framework aims to roughly capture dynamic dependence and evolving risk context among stocks. To address the first change, we limiting the heterogeneous distortion of individual spectra. To address the second challenge, we can trust a data-driven graph network that gently evaluates the weighted contribution of amplitude and the degree of page alignment with the median. Aligned frequency bands reflect the true underlying values of the influence. To resolve the third challenge, we design a state-aware risk contagion mechanism. This mechanism dynamically reroutes the flow of risk information based on contextual information. There are be flexible in simulation to evaluation of risk propagation under changing market conditions. Our main contributor can summarize of all. Okay. Frequency domain framework for final spectrum temporal forecasting. We introduce an end-to-end frequency domain spectrum temporal graph learning model for this task. Compared to time domain analysis, our approach offers a novel perspective that changes robustly and interpretably, while achieving superior performance over competitive baselines on real-world market data. Knowledge gauge frequency feature alignment model with the same novel spectrum normalization proceed that aligns typical market frequency patterns by a dynamic complex value knowledge base. This model rectifies distortions and frequency representations and calibrates the one hand spectral characteristics of each stock time series to share spectral baseline. Dynamic relation inference growing in frequency domain theory. We developed an effective mechanism for adaptive inference relationship in the frequency domain. With this effectiveness substantive theoretical derivation, it quantities to degree of a covariant on each lat of the edge domain frequency to reflect the true risk propaganda pathways. State-aware graph routing attention network. We implement a state-aware message pacing mechanisms that dynamic- dynamically adjust based on node states and external environment. This allows the influence between nodes to be adaptively strengthened, attenuated, or rerouted. Bueno, todo este texto mm, se puede definir como los riesgos que una empresa puede tener y cómo estos son tratados, cómo estos se llevan a cabo, cómo estos se gestionan. Hay distintas formas de gestionar los malas noticias o riesgos financieros que puede tener una empresa y cómo estos pueden afectar tanto a la empresa como a las demás empresas posteriores. Así que, en resumen, el texto habla sobre la importancia sobre gestionar estos riesgos financieros, estos malos momentos que puede pasar una empresa y cómo tomar medidas ante ellos.